So what is good, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video, and for today's video we're doing something a little bit different here. We're bringing back the Seattle SuperSonics in an expansion draft and seeing if we can get this team of expansion players to ultimately win an NBA championship. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, and here we go. So we hop into the pool, and right off the bat, the guy that catches my eye here is Michael Porter Jr. Obviously very young and has a ton of potential there in Denver. They did not actually keep him and restrict him from going into this draft pool, so we're going to pull the trigger and go ahead and grab him because I think that's a great player to start off with. And would you look at that, even RJ Barrett's available as well. Very surprised those two teams did not protect them, but we are going to grab both of them. Obviously being young players with a ton of potential going forward, and if it really comes down to it, a lot of trade value. And I didn't feel like breaking it down through all of them, so those were kind of like the two highlights, I guess, is the young star potential guys. But we were able to get some pretty good players. We got Mike Conley and Jeff Teague, two good veteran point guards from it. Malik Beasley, RJ Barrett, and Shake Milton, all at that two-guard position, all pretty young and pretty good in all honesty. Of course, we have some good spots and some bad spots. Show you what the rotations are looking like in a second. We also were able to grab Rudy Gay, Serge Ibaka, and Melo. Obviously, some of the guys in the pool are gonna be vets that don't really have the best contracts, and the team wasn't too worried about them. But we were able to grab some really good young players out of it. You see off the bench, even we got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we got Robert Williams. Like, we have a pretty solid team here, in all honesty. And I'm definitely gonna send Nickeil Alexander-Walker to the G League, and I was gonna send Horton Tucker as well. But it, for some reason, wasn't giving me that option. But you see off the bench, we have a guy like Otto Porter, more of like an issue with his contract in real life and all that. But we're going to see how our team does in year one, so let's get into it. So we actually have to end up having a surprise stoppage here. This trade popped up, and I couldn't let it go. We don't really need Melo, and he's not crucial to this team. So we're going to take that and get that future first from the Celtics. You see MVP goes to Giannis Antetokounmpo here in year one. And our guy, Michael Porter Jr., going crazy, getting a most improved player of the year here with us. You love to see it. Let's see how that translated into wins. And unfortunately, we did not shock the world, coming in with 33 wins on the season. But it's still not all that bad, considering we were just kind of left the scraps of what other teams didn't want. Our leading scorer, actually, Serge Ibaka, with only 14.2 points per game. You know, it's kind of tough when your team's highest scorer is only scoring about 14 a game. But we have a lot of players playing really solid and a lot of good depth going forward. So I'm not mad at all here. So we're going to hop into the playoffs and just kind of sim to the end and see who the matchup is. You got Sixers versus the Lakers here. Interested to see which of these two teams pulls out. And it's actually the Lakers, with Bron getting himself another Finals MVP. So hopping into the offseason here, we should have a pretty good pick because, you know, we weren't the greatest team. So we ended up with the number 10 pick, which definitely wasn't really what I wanted. We had a late first round pick and a couple seconds, and I was trying to bundle them all up to move up a couple spots, but unfortunately it just was not happening that way. So we're just going to keep pick 10 and see who falls here, and I think that I'm seeing somebody I like already. Deni Avdija is probably who we're going to take with this pick. I think he's the most talented out of the group left, so we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. Although we do kind of have somebody playing that position already, we will move guys around to figure it out. And you see what the squad is looking like here. We definitely made some additions in the offseason and such. We added D-Rose, we added Bol, and we're going to see if we can make a couple more moves, because now that we have Deni, I'm going to move him to the 2, and we're going to run a big lineup, honestly. So we're going to probably do that right there. We're going to grab De'Aaron Fox for Derrick Rose and RJ Barrett, which I feel pretty decent with. And then I'm trying to get Steven Adams out of here because he was not really who I wanted our big man to be, but it just kind of happened. We got Marcus Smart out of it, and then I'm going to try to flip him, and we get Mitchell Robinson out of it ultimately there, so not bad at all. And you take a look at the team now, it's looking pretty solid. De'Aaron Fox, Michael Porter Jr., Bol playing the power forward, Mitchell Robinson off the bench, really good, honestly. Look at that bench. Not bad at all. We do need to get Deni built into our rotations, though, so I have to move that all around. But really, honestly, a pretty good lineup here with a lot of depth and a very tall lineup, to say the very least, considering we have Michael Porter Jr., we have Bol, and Mitchell Robinson all starting in the same lineup. Off the bench, Mike Conley, Denny, Nerlens Noel, Robert Williams, like, very good. So we're going to see how year 2 ends up going. About working with like a 3-star system proficiency. So let's see if we can kind of make a splash. And for everyone that didn't get to really see all the moves we made, that's exactly all the moves we made in the offseason right there. Kind of get a better idea of what was for what exactly in those trades. And you see we grabbed Bol Bol in like a 1-year deal because I wasn't necessarily sure I wanted Bol Bol, but we'll see how it works out with him playing that 4. So here we go. Giannis Antetokounmpo getting another MVP season here. And did that translate into wins? And boom, from 33 wins to 50 and 32 record, baby. A ginormous increase. And if you didn't notice, Giannis has joined the Mavericks with Luka Doncic in this sim, which is not something you want to see, really, as a team competing. So we finally have an over 20 point per game scorer in De'Aaron Fox. And Bol Bol, in all honesty, shocking me a lot, having a much better season than I imagined him having starting in power forward. Michael Porter Jr. doing his thing as well. Denny off the bench, putting up pretty solid numbers as well. So our rotations are looking pretty solid here in the playoffs. Malik Beasley still technically is the starter over Denny, but, I mean, they're just about splitting minutes in all honesty, so not bad at all. Maybe we'll even bump up his minutes, we'll see. Yeah, give him a few more minutes, honestly. Robert Williams, Mike Conley, they're all getting solid minutes. Shake off the bench, a guy that can also progress pretty well, and give Josh Okogie some minutes as well. Chilling at like a 3-star system proficiency, so not the greatest, but not too bad. First round matchup here up against this OKC Thunder team that came in as the number 6 seed. So let's see if we can knock them out. They're taking it to 7 with us, which is not necessarily what we want to see here, but let's see how it plays out. We're in Simcast, and it's a flood as we beat them by about 30 points there. Malik Beasley actually being the highest scorer on our team there, dropping a 30-piece on only 9 of 14 shooting to combat that big game by Chris Paul. So second round matchup here up against the Lakers, and I definitely did not expect a sweep there. We kind of went crazy. But now's the real test, I feel. The Western Conference Finals up against Giannis and Luka, man. At least we get a game here because I didn't think that we maybe even would. We get knocked out in 5. Luka dropping 42, 12, and 12 in the loss. And Giannis dropping 31, 11, and 6, man. And Kristaps not even having to do too much in all honesty. So that just shows you how freaking powerful that team is scoring-wise. And honestly, all around. Up against the Sixers here in the finals. And the Sixers are low-key coming back a little, but they do end up taking it 4-2. Giannis getting a finals MVP. Moving into year 3 here. Teams kind of similar. We weren't able to make any splashes in free agency like I wanted, so we brought back Bol Bol. Of course, he was on that 1-year deal, and we were able to bring back Mitchell Robinson as well. Off the bench, looking kind of similar, but we did lose a few of our rotational guys, so a guy like Carson Edwards and Derek Jones Jr. now getting tick off the bench. We did grab Goran Dragic, but once we signed him, he hit about 5 regression points downswing, so that kind of sucked. Giannis gets another MVP season here with the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, a crazy, crazy spot for him to land. But more importantly, let's check out how our Supersonics performed in year 3. And would you look at that, number 1 in the Western Conference with 68 wins and only 14 losses. 2 players scoring over 20 a game. Bol Bol stepped up big in this sim so far. 21.2 points per game, 9.5 rebounds per game, and some decent block numbers. Michael Porter Jr. getting even better, and Denny getting even better, man. Look at that, starting 5. Absolutely fantastic. So we're going to see what we can do in the playoffs here. We're coming in with 3.5-star system proficiency, so it could be a little bit better, but let's check it out. First round matchup here up against Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, and we make easy work of them, beating them in 5. Moving on to the second round here, up against an OKC Thunder team that added Cole Anthony, and yet again another 5-game series, baby. Western Conference Finals, this is where it matters. The team that knocked us out last year, the team that won the championship, are we built for it? We're down 2 games. We're hopping into Simcast to see just how this one plays out, and if we can push this to a Game 7 here in year 3, and boom, we push it to 7, baby. Can we successfully go to the championship here? Let's check it out. And it is back and forth early on here, man. And it's really spooky, honestly. I'm trying to slow it down just so we can kind of really get the full feel of it. And look at that. We win by 2 points with a big fourth quarter there. De'Aaron Fox dropping 20 to help. Honestly, all-around effort to combat that 34 from Giannis up against this Cavs team that I'm not as worried about as I just was with that Dallas Mavericks team in the finals here. And we are up 3-2. They actually are going to get this game here, though, I'm pretty sure, and push it to Game 7. So let's see what happens. And it does. It's going to Game 7, baby. Back-to-back Game 7s, and we hop into this one, and with a broke shiitake shot there, 127-81, an absolute flood as we just hold the ball with about 30 seconds left on the clock. An absolute killer performance here in Game 7 by the guys. Michael Porter Jr. trying to get jelly here, and a little floater that does end up going. 129-81. 20 seconds left on the shot clock, and now unplugged. Once they take this shot, it will be a GG because we will be just holding. And for the record, I also don't know why we have a USA basketball court. I used somebody's SuperSonics team entire brand thing, and they had the USA basketball thing, but it is what it is. So 129-83, Robert Williams will be holding the ball to secure the SuperSonics a dubski in their 3rd year in the NBA here. Huge W. Kind of interesting to see which one of the guys actually ends up getting this Finals MVP award. Is it going to be Bobo? Is it going to be Michael Porter Jr., De'Aaron Fox, or maybe even Denny Avila? We're going to check that out real quick and check out the box score as well. The SuperSonics jerseys are just so fire, man. But let's check out that box score. A 31-point performance, dominant there from Michael Porter Jr. to combat that 24-point game from Colin Sexton, which was not bad either. Let's check this out. Who is our Finals MVP here, baby? Let's get it. And it's going to be De'Aaron Fox stepping up big time. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely smash that like button. I appreciate you watching. Bean out.